I remember being on the street in London, minus 14 degrees centigrade. I was fighting for my life over a McDonald's, a burger. That's where I was. And that was one of the moments that changed me. Learning from the lessons that I'd been through. Homelessness, addiction, and surviving on the streets in the worst possible times of my life. I despised who I was for a very, very long time. And it wasn't until I went, enough, who am I? Can I forgive myself? I must forgive myself. I will forgive myself. And go through that process. Ego is the dream killer. Finance or money or different orientations of that, egoic stuff will drag you down. If people are supposed to be with you, allow them to be with you. But equally, if they're not, open the door and with compassion, show them the way to leave themselves. You have a decision. And it's your decision of facing what you truly are and who you truly are to come full circle to freedom and find that next level that you call life.
Well, back today, we are here with Jill Collins Connections with none other than Baz Porter. Baz, I'm telling you what, this guy is incredible. He is a Royal British Army veteran. Yes, he is from the UK and he has a British accent, which is pretty cool. But he really overcame several obstacles, particularly relating to PTSD. But what I really want to get into with him today is what y'all need to know is that he's had a lot of setbacks and a lot of things have happened to him. People have turned on him. People have walked away from him. He's had a lot of failures in his life, but he's also had a lot of wins. And I want you all to see this as a shining example of how any failure that you've ever experienced or anytime anyone's ever left you and you felt completely alone, that you can come out of this. You can rise from the ashes. And Baz has a podcast called Rising from the Ashes. And else that's one of the things he does. And so I really want to introduce you and get you started today. So he's a life and business strategist that he works worldwide. And he's really dedicated to helping professionals and individuals maximize their potential, like in any area. So like when you're feeling like you got stuck, kicked down, you're just like at the end, you're having a dark night of the soul. This is the guy you want to talk to. This is the interview you want to watch. So I want to welcome you to the show today, Baz. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much, Jill. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today.
Oh, thanks so much. Well, I just want to get right in there because I'm going to put a lot of information about how to reach you in the description and our bios and everything so they know where to find you. But I really want to get into this idea of what you're so focused on is finding your life purpose. And everyone says a lot of times, like, oh, I just want to know what my purpose is. I don't have clarity. I don't know what I want to do. And I've interviewed several people about this. And I'm always so curious about everyone's point of view and how they approach it. But what's unique about you that I think no one else is really talking about is just that where they really came from, their story. And I know you can't talk about things like, the British Royal Army and some of the things that have happened to you there. So we're going to not touch on that. But thank you for your service. I do appreciate that so much. And I know we all do. Anyone who's serving us and helping us maintain our freedom and keep our freedom, we appreciate you. But tell us a little bit about how it started. When did you realize you wanted to even start and needed to find your life purpose? Did you always know your life purpose?
The short answer is no, I didn't. Great question. Thank you for those people who are serving now. You keep our country safe. Was veterans past. So thank you for what you do. Service and purpose go hand in hand, I believe. Growing up, I was always the outcast. I knew I was different. I was bullied in school, and that's not the sole story of me. This is everybody who is anybody who amounts to anything. They always go through hardships. But one thing stood out to me. It was the patterns of people going through hardships, but they didn't give up. And the service part of it, combined with what the question is of your life purpose. But it's more than what you're passionate about. Some people say, find what you're passionate about, then that is your purpose. It's a part of it. It's not encompassing it. So I looked at what I was really passionate about, but I equally looked at the patterns that I'd been through, the adversities, however you view them, the challenges, the setbacks, the failures. But I also looked at what they taught, and I took what they taught me and went, there's more to this. I started to look at the successful people in the world. Tony Robbins as one of the most successful entrepreneurs, coaches, business life strategists in the world, arguably one of the best. However, he had his setbacks. He speaks on stage openly about not being able to eat. The story of the Christmas dinner when he got the knock on the door by a stranger. What made that so special wasn't the actual story. It was his passion behind it. And then taking that passion and wanting to serve others with the lesson he learned. It was selfless acts. And it was these selfless acts and the patterns of me looking at the most successful people. Bob Proctor, the late Bob Proctor, Joe Dispenza. You look at Dean Graziosi. You look at Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk, to name only a few. There are so many. Being on the street in London, minus 14 degrees centigrade, not Fahrenheit, centigrade. And I was fighting for my life over a McDonald's burger, a Big Mac. That's where I was. And that was one of the moments that changed, where I realized it was a Big Mac. And I was going to severely hurt somebody, unalive them. And I would be careful with my language because of YouTube. Unalive them, which was the conditions we were in at the time, for a hamburger. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's such desperation at moments when you were just our basic needs and we are just in mere survival. The things that we will do primitively that just to get through that.
Yeah.
And you went through all of that and you saw that. And I see that this formula you have, it's like a formula for success. It's the passion. I hear like 3 or 4 things. I'm looking for the steps. It's like passion, service, and selfless acts. And then looking at what successful people are doing, their habits, what are they doing? And then going back to service, it's that connecting and checking in with someone. Is that there are 3 things? Is that right? 3
Yes.
And service and success habits of others that we want to emulate.
So everything, and successful people talk about this all the time. Success leaves clues. It does, but you need to know what clues you're looking for. They don't just come out and smack you in the face. But I think people think they do. Any amount of success, anybody who is successful, whether it be in their business or famous on stage, it takes about 15 years of non-stop perseverance to even see a glimpse of it. What you don't see behind the stage is the tears, the setbacks, the anger, the imposter syndromes, the self-doubt, all of the stuff that we never share and speak about because you view somebody like, oh, they're famous. It happened overnight. And if anybody gets famous overnight, you see them on the charts, one-hit wonders.
One-hit wonders.
Where the hell did he go? Well, he was, he's the next he's gone. But
people are doing that? Yeah. What is something like that you said that like they're having to fight for a hamburger and those worst moments on the streets? What are some other things that really like that 15 years, you're saying it's 15 years to really get to that place, right? Where people don't see the behind the scenes, what it takes to really build that wherever it is you want to go. I hope it's shorter than that because 15 years is a long time, but
average. But
I love that. Yeah. And so what are some of the blood, sweat, and tears since your days of growing up? And I know you went through, you mentioned to me in the past about, I don't know where you want to go first, but like things like what stopped you from getting from finding your purpose? Is it like when you were saying you had issues with probably alcoholism, I know you said, and then also relationship. What would you say was just the biggest thing that just really almost knocked you down that you thought you'd never come back from? Tell me a story about that.
Myself was the biggest person to knock me down because I lost belief within myself.
Wow.
I'd been, we all go through this. We all get conditioned in someone else's belief about us and become so subject to it in a lot of ways. We forget who the hell we are. We forget we're in charge, and it doesn't matter what other people thinks about us. One of the instances really, really hit home for me when I realized what was going on was I was still bringing baggage with me from school. Went to a mixed race school where it was very much I was a minority in the place,
Hmm.
and I was small, and I was told I was nothing. I was time I did, we all know it now as dyslexia, or as I like to say, dyspexia.
Mm.
But back then, I was just called thick. I was stupid. I was dumb, and there was no help or support with. I'm not going to call it special needs because I'm not special, or no one else is who has this. It's just normal. But we were taught, we were tracked differently, not just by the teachers and the staff in the schools, but also by our peers. Because of the reason I was bullied, I didn't had lost interest at school. But all the instances of neglect or abuse from my peers added up. And I was told for repeatedly for years I was unworthy. I'd never be loved. I wouldn't be amount to anything.
Mm.
And I actually, because of all this, believed it. I joined forces, and other things happened after my 9-year career. But even when I come out of the forces, I still brought with me. And it wasn't until I chose, um, after a huge relationship breakdown, I'd been in a relationship for 4 years, and I was a complete asshole. I was the piss of me. And I admit this to anybody today. I was not a nice person. And I realized I was being everybody else to the person I cared about the most. I was taking you, not physically, but I was taking out things emotionally and mentally for people. And I was masking it in alcohol. I was blaming the alcohol. Weekends, I'd go out to karaoke, and most of the weekends from Friday to Sunday morning, I wouldn't remember. I do not remember much of any weekend at all. And I'd love karaoke. I love a good sing song. And I realized that I was becoming who I most despise.
Wow.
I was becoming the person that I hated the most in the world. And that was my bullies. And I was bringing it not only into prison, but I was taking over the people I was supposed to love, my family, the girlfriend at the time, which is why I broke down, amongst other reasons. But she found solace in somebody else. She eventually cheated on me. She couldn't trust me. And I had to forgive not only her, but myself, because it takes two to tango.
Mhm.
And I realized that was a huge turning point for me when, if I'm hating myself, I'm sure the rest of the world is hating me of what I'm becoming. And it wasn't until I had to face myself and get out of my own way, my own ego, to say, "This, enough. You have to change for the world to like you, not the world to change for you to like you." So I had to change the whole mindset and my identity, or who I was, my core, not who people wanted me to be or people who molded me to be, but who I was, my values, perception, all my beliefs, and where I was going. Because I didn't have a clue. I was a drunk, was trying to stop the drugs, because all this was masking up emotional turmoil within me because I wasn't willing to face
Mm-hmm. Been there.
it. I wake up in the morning, hello, Jack Daniels, and my best friend. And that's where I was for nearly 12 years. on and off, until I drunk myself stupid. I was turning yellow. That's how bad it got. I had
Wow.
cirrhosis. My liver was shutting down. And the doc said, if you don't stop drinking today, I'm going to give you 6 weeks maximum. And I was like, yeah, it's time for me to stop. I literally, that was the last time. I couldn't do it. It was make or break for me then. And
How
then
did you get off of how did you get off of it? You have to physically have some detoxing and go through that?
I just went old school cold turkey. I
Wow.
stopped. I went back on and off irregular afterwards. It wasn't a complete stop. But no, I'm in a position where I hadn't touched a drink for nearly 3-4 years.
Wow.
So for me, it was a gradual thing. Therapy and stuff like that never worked for me. It was single sort. People, I'm not knocking therapy. People it works for, some people it doesn't. For me, I knew it was going to work. And the same thing when I stopped smoking. I woke up one day and I'm no longer a smoker.
Yeah, I've done that way too as well for drinking and
Yeah.
smoking. Yeah,
It's an identity switch.
it is. It is.
It's not just people say, what I heard this someone, I think it was YouTube or something. It's not just stopping the addiction. You have to change your identity or the relationship to the addiction.
Mhm.
And that's what changes it.
Yeah, I think I've had that conversation. We've talked a lot. In fact, when you interviewed me for your channel, we were talking about that and how I realized when I first quit drinking, it's been just over 4 years now. A few weeks ago was 4 years. And 19. And great date. I love that. That's why I'll never mess with it because it's such a good date to remember. But I remember at first saying, I'm just not doing it for now. And it was such a struggle. It was like, oh, but everybody's like, well, when are you going to start again? Can't you just have one? And it wasn't until like months later when I finally just said, I don't know. Somebody asked if I was going to a party or wanted to go to something. I said, no, I don't drink. I'm a non-drinker or whatever I said. Either non-drinker, I don't drink. And something reset in my brain. The identity went, Jill's a non-drinker.
Mhm.
And I'm telling you, from that point on, and maybe it was a little bit before that where I decided I didn't declare it verbally, but I can be around alcohol all the time. I have friends who drink. I have people that I know. I have it in my house in Argentina. I have enough our booze in my place down there to open 2 bars because I've always had parties there. And I don't know, I'm a practical person. I'll just throw stuff away. But it doesn't bother me. It doesn't faze me. It's like having this microphone right here. It's like having a pencil. It's something to look, it just walk by it. It's just a fixture. And it's because of identity, because I just don't drink. It's like, I don't kill people. I don't drink. I don't, whatever it is, we're so adamant about that we know who we are so solidly. I'm a daughter. That doesn't change. That's the whole key, is really knowing it. So I love what you said about identity. Keep going. This story is so brilliant, so amazing what you've done and how can I go also point out, I wrote so many notes here because I have family members and friends who have gone through addiction and have struggled with it. And I have some that I know that say, I'm not going to 12-step meetings. I'm not going into treatment again, that kind of thing. And therapy didn't work. You said therapy didn't work for you. I don't do 12-step, although I'm on a nonprofit board that's for substance abuse. And I absolutely believe in 12 steps for people who it works for.
Yes.
If it doesn't, you've got to do what works. You got to find your secret sauce and your formula, and don't give up and don't assume that something's wrong with you if one thing doesn't work. And I think what you just said there is therapy didn't work for you. And that's okay. Therapists are great. Some people really need that. And some people need, and some people can't make it by just trying to do it on their own. So there's no right or wrong. It's just finding the secret sauce that's right for you. So I love that you said that and that you just went cold turkey. That's really how I do me too. I'm done.
It's a different mindset when you go that pathway. And it's a make or break. For me, at the time, it was make or break. It was like, I tried to commit suicide 3 times. It's unbelievable. I've tried overdosing, hating myself, trying to run over institution, you name it, other than actually physically putting something into my body ish. I've tried it. It didn't work. There was each time it's divine intervention.
Sure.
When I did an overdose of antidepressants. What is it? Had enough, took enough to kill an elephant. And my ex-girlfriend filmed me naked on a roundabout in the middle of a traffic zone.
What?
Literally.
Not in a vehicle. Were you in a
No,
vehicle?
I was literally face down
Oh,
in the bushes, completely naked at 3 o'clock in the morning. She found me and she was told to go and get me. This is an ex-girlfriend that hated my guts at the time because I wasn't completely right. And she said, I had to come and see you. I don't know why. And she found me. She picked me up, she called the ambulance, and she took me to hospital. And she was her present boyfriend at the time was her new boyfriend, and they were who I woke up to. 6 days later, I was comatose 6 days. I had my stomach pumped. I was on IVs, catheter. I was something least. I was just, where am I?
wow.
And then she said, "We picked you up. You had enough um, tablets in you. I mean, was to actually kill an elephant." And they pumped out 1.5 liters of Zambuca for my sister.
Wow.
They said, you
Alcohol.
should
That's
have
an
been dead.
alcohol. Yeah.
And I was like, well, that was the idea. I wasn't to play about this. I wanted to go. I took him.
I've heard so many people, several people I know. I think of a minister that I followed and I adore, Dr. Mark Rutland from years ago when he was going through a very dark time in his life and similar stories and preaching and actually running a church and how twice he tried to kill himself. And one was a gun and it jammed. Second time he was trying to run off and ran into a barricade and he just all of a sudden just like blacked out. And the next thing you know, he came to, and on the side of the road, he was parked and the flashers were going. He has no idea how that happened. You know, I mean, just things happen. And I think there's so much divine intervention that we can't even imagine that happens to us every day. So I'm grateful you're still here. And I'm also want to thank you and really tell you how much I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing your story and your experience. I know these aren't hard stories or aren't easy stories to tell, but I know there are so many people out there that are where right now or where you were. And I want to get to like first of all, what was it that you were feeling that you just felt the need to have to end it so much that there's so much pain? It started from childhood where you were feeling you were such an outcast. I was there too. I've been there, you know, and as I call it, the least popular kid in school and bullied and picked on, and then having a difficult upbringing at times. And so grateful for my family though today. They're so amazing. My parents and my brother and just my extended family as well. But is that going from there to then drinking and alcohol and, you know, these different things that we use to medicate is what it's like we have to almost deal with the why and not just the stopping.
Mhm.
You got to go in and say, what is it that's making me want to medicate, to want to mask, to want to numb?
Mhm.
So I don't want to do that anymore because we can stop alcohol and find something else to do. For me, I'm like, I always say, I'm running out of vices. You know, I don't smoke anymore. I don't drink. And Netflix, okay, I don't overeat. I'm like, you know, what else I got? I'm running out of stuff. I got to meditate. I got to go inside now. You know, so it's what is it that is for you that was you were feeling that you needed to still do that? And what do you think a lot of
Right.
people go with there?
And that's a great question because I realized that if I couldn't die, what was I here to do? Was my what was my if I wasn't allowed to, basically how I framed it in my little mind, if you're not allowed to go, what am I here? What's the purpose? What was my life purpose? Why was I going through, I'm gonna call it pain, but it's not pain. I don't view it as pain. No one and I had to come to terms with myself. I had to figure out why I was, and I wasn't never even had mentoring, coaching, personal development then. I was like, well, what's all this? And now I had a gift as a kid and I saw things. It's only that I saw spirits, ghosts. I knew information about, I mean real information, things that people wouldn't even speak about. And that was my gift. And I realized, okay, so I'm seeing all this. And I cut them off as a kid. The last I was tell you a quick story. I was very young, I remember 9 or 10, and I remember sitting on the bathroom at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then saw the door handle of the bathroom down, which is 12 foot in front of me, and the door slammed shut, and there was a creature with red eyes in front of me.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, scared, no, no, no. And that's when I shouted out. I didn't want to know, and I told myself, convinced myself it didn't exist until I had a spiritual awakening. And I was forced to go through multiple dark nights of the soul, which is, in essence is, you were referring to earlier, facing yourself, but the real you, not the version that you tell yourself you are, or you tell everybody else you are, the internal stuff, the things you push all the way down and think they won't even know is, well, all of that came. And I started to see things, I started to feel things, know information. I mean, not just casual information from people's thoughts. I knew longitudes, latitudes. I knew events, worldly events. I wrote them all down because I didn't understand how to process what I was feeling or seeing. And I got a lot of it into a different language I now know to be Sanskrit.
Wow.
But at the time, I was petrified of what I was feeling within myself, because everything that I hated, everything that I pushed down for years, I thought was I dealt with in my little way. I just dealt with it in inverted commas. I'm good. I dealt with it. I hadn't. I had all these negative thoughts about myself, the things that I'd done to other people, the families that I'd, the people that lives that I've ruined through my own behavior.
Mm.
And then all of the late nights that I was drunk and so drunk, I'd pass out and not know who I was, let alone where I was. All that information came up because it was subconsciously imprinted in me. The things I'd done, the atrocities I'd done, I can't even tell you what I'd done on this life. It was just so much. I kept getting forgive. And that word kept coming, forgive, forgive, forgive. But I was like, okay, but who do I forgive?
You, yourself.
At the time, I didn't know that.
Yeah, of course.
So it kept getting louder. At the point where for 3 weeks, I sat at the end of a bed, bleeding from the ears and nose.
What happened?
I was having a full-on awakening. I was seeing consciousness in the physical form. And I know angels to be dimensional angles because I've seen the rawity of them, not the fleshed up, fluffed up version you see in books, what they truly are as energy. Pure light force. And if you imagine Star Wars on steroids, you get some of that sort of thing. Because it was absolutely insane. And it kept telling me, forgive. And it wouldn't tell me what or who. I had to work all that out. But it wasn't consciously I had to work it out, or mentally, I had to work it out internally. And then I was on Facebook at the time. I'm not new. The platform I'm on is LinkedIn and YouTube. But I got on Facebook and I was a part of a Facebook group that were helping people coach, listen to them basically. And I'd grown the group from 4,000 people to 36,000 people in about 6 months.
Wow.
My Facebook page at the time had over 40,000 people. I was very, very open in public, lives, etc. I got onto all my followers and I'm a healer. And it stopped. As quick as it stopped, it stopped. I went, I'm a healer. I wrote a big essay. You know, the big posts they used to allow you to make? Not anymore. They do a video, I wrote a big essay. I'm a healer. I'm a medium. I help people. I would have traveled. And this is where that channel came through originally. And as soon as I did that, the whole world went quiet. everything stopped. I stopped shaking. I stopped sweating. I was in pain like I'd never felt before, because I owned who I thought I was as an identity at that time. And I actually not just said that I forgive myself, but I felt it. And I realized then I couldn't translate I couldn't speak what it was. I couldn't articulate it. Now I can. I'd actually found my life purpose. Actually found my purpose within all that torment and pain and everything else I'd done up to the point. Instead of going, I'm going to bury it, I went, I'm going to use it. I didn't have a vehicle at the time. I didn't have a way to communicate that, and it changed dramatically over the past 4 or 5 years. But that's where I started was. I didn't know any personal development. I'd never even heard of Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Gary. I never had I never owned really a proper business before, other than a gardening business that was doing the hashtag through alcohol. So that was the pivotal point for me, but I had to go deep within myself. And I was the person who never learned anything easily. I was the person that had to be taught 17 times minimum before I actually got it.
Oh, yeah. I know that one. Thank you, sir. May I have another? Can I learn an even harder way? Is there a more difficult, more painful way to learn this? Let's do that one more time, because that wasn't hard enough.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that. I know that one.
But instead of, I had to face myself. And people say it's a dark night of the soul. People say it's an awakening. However you want to describe it, consciousness exists. And it exists not just within us, it exists around us. Binds us into Star Wars stuff. But it's a part of who we are. And you don't have to understand it. Make sure you understand it within you. Have that inner standing, that inner comprehension of self. Get out of your own way so you can allow your true aspects to come forward. Ego is the dream killer. Finance or money or different orientations of that, egoic stuff, will drag you down. And people will. If people are supposed to be with you, allow them to be with you. But equally, if they're not, open the door and with compassion, show them the way to leave themselves. If you do this, you will literally change your life overnight. You'll go from being one person and tied down to the wrong things, or the things that are no longer serving you, to freedom within a matter of minutes. And you have a decision. Not me, Jill, not anybody else. Partners, you have a decision. And it's your decision of facing what you truly are and who you truly are to come full circle to freedom and find that next level that you call life.
I love that. Here's one thing I just wrote. I love this, is don't control others. Allow people to come and go. I'm rephrasing what you said.
Mhm.
And this one just came to me. Let go of things you are clinging to that don't belong to you. Yeah. It's like if you love something, let it go. If it's meant to be, it'll, come back if it never was meant to be. Something else occurred to me too when you were speaking, and I love this is gold. This is like solid stuff here. You were so brilliant in how you put this together. And I think when you had this epiphany and you said, okay, after all the times you tried to, off yourself.
Unalive myself.
Unalive yourself is, if I'm not allowed to die or go, what am I here for? And here's the funny thing is, I'm curious, like, I've had moments where I wanted to kill myself. I've had a dark night of the soul, and in fact, in the recent few years. And it was really a matter of what you said is the very thing that I thought, because you said, okay, I'm going to have to face what it is that I know I'm supposed to do, my purpose. And I'm terrified because what hit me too is when we say, I think it was Nelson Mandela who said, or no, I heard it was Nelson Mandela, but it's actually indeed Marianne Williamson. And I heard this in an Oprah interview for clarification, but it's not, our biggest fear is not that we're not good enough or powerful enough, but that we're more powerful and bigger than we can even imagine. That is what we're more fearful of.
Right.
And so I think when people like you and me, we're playing a big game and we really have this high expectation and we're really wanting to just go all in, and we get these glimpses of huge goals and aspirations or things that are called to us, or, visions. It, like I have, is this, and you do too, is this purpose. It's like, that's really huge. And we don't even know it consciously sometimes, but it's way down in there, and it can almost make us manic. It can make us a little bit crazy because we're thinking, I can't do this. And nothing is satisfies. Nothing that we're doing satisfies, because we know there's something bigger and we're playing a small game and we know it's supposed to be bigger. And so the tendency is like, I can't, I'm never going to make it. So let me just end this. Does that, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those kind of things. And so some people can get that far down there, is that we just know we're not cutting the mustard, and what it's going to take to get back on track is way too big. Doesn't even have to be a big purpose, like a huge purpose, but it's even like to giving up, an addiction and to quit something, that is so massive for some people, and they just can't possibly see a way out. And so the only way out is either to stay where they are, which they can't go, they got to stay there. They can't go backwards, and they just can't go forwards. And so the only way out is what we just talked about. And I just want to encourage people through your experience is that there is a way, and that you really, there's a bright side. So continue on. I just had to go through those points.
I love that. To that point, one of the most impactful things I've heard in recent years came from Tony Robbins. We're going to first in-person live, in-person UPW. One of the things that I remember him saying was, if you can't make a way, can't see a way, make a way. If you can't find a way, pay the way. If you can't pay the way, you create it. And it was that 3-step analogy that always stuck with me. And it wasn't what he said. It was the force, and Tony is a force of nature, it's a force of himself saying it with the reference, there is always a way. It doesn't matter if you can't think of one right now, there is a way. You just have to step back enough and relax and surrender to find it, because it will present itself. People try and try and try and try. Reference the book from 3 Feet from Gold from Dr. Greg Reed and Sharon Lecter. People they physically try and do something all the time and they don't get anywhere. The moment they stop and go, actually, it's done. And they stand back and they get out of their own goddamn way, that's when it happens. And the momentum starts when you get out of your own way, when you face who you are and what you want to be. And you let in the inner voice, conscious voice. People call it Jiminy Cricket, Pinocchio reference. But it's there for a reason. And that conscious, the right and wrong, you can't, the imposter syndromes and everybody else's voice gets involved with it. That voice becomes so numb and so tired of speaking, it stops speaking.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you say, okay, what's really going on here? And you show yourself firstly compassion and love. I cannot stress that enough, because I was a person that hated myself. I mean, hate with the most vengeance hate you could have possibly imagined. I despised who I was for a very, very long time. And it wasn't until I went, enough, who am I? Can I forgive myself? I must forgive myself. I will forgive myself. And go through that process. But not just lip service. People go, oh, you just, BS. You don't just say it. You become it. You become that version of you. A friend of ours, Peter Swain, I admire that man more than many other people in the world for what he's achieved in his lifetime.
We did a great interview with him. Yeah, he's amazing.
He says, you've got to face who you are at your core. And one of the things that I became in this process was, he calls it vanilla. I wasn't swearing. I wasn't being who I was, because I was adapting to the environment other people wanted me to be, or who I thought they wanted me to be. So I stopped being who I was. I lost aspects of myself. And there's a place for language. There's a place for verbalizing who you truly are. But I've forgotten that person. I've lost that person. And I'd lost, in that process, I'd lost my value. I lost my voice. When I realized, and he pointed it out to me, he said, Baz, I love you. And you just stop being somebody else you're not. And I was like, what do you mean, Peter? He said, you're not straight to the point. You're nicey to everybody. That's not who you are. I know that because you're British, and I know that because your background. And I was like, okay. And he pointed it out to me.
Mm.
And a guy, even you might, Roy, I can't remember his second name. He's Roy. His name's Roy. It comes to me later. He owns a company in Beverly Hills called Seek Capital,
Okay.
and he's flat. And he said, the first time I ever met you, Baz, I walked into his office for business mastery. I went, good morning. Are you all ready for this?
Yeah.
And that's what drew me to him. That drew him to me,
Yeah.
because I was straight in your face.
Yep.
And he said he watched me transform through other people tried to mold me as.
Wow.
And I was like, that's so true. And when Peter pointed out to me, it was repeating a pattern from childhood. Because the people, my bullies, the people that I hated the most, molded me into this person to be suppressed and shut up and just do as you're told and take good kicking. That isn't me. You kick me, I'm going to get back up. And when I get back, not if, but when I get back up, I suggest you run for the hills, because I'm coming like a freight train, and I will not stop.
That's
You
the
try to stop me, kill me. But the next life, I'm still coming back. And that was what recognized it within me. That was my purpose. I could use the pain. I could use the challenges, the setbacks, the late nights, the tears, the blood, the sweat, everything to put into one place to go, enough. Where does this stop? Oh, it stops with me, because I can't change it for myself. But what I can do is change our future direction.
Yeah.
And I can change your kids, your grandkids, and set an example for them, and use my mistakes, but leverage my mistakes and go, yeah, I did this, and that was a bad thing to do. Because you own up to something, you take responsibility, you take every energy out of it.
Ooh, that's a big one right there, is when we start to when we start to want to change and we want to get better, and we want to rise from the ashes, as you've done so well. And I want to point out that you do some amazing webinars and virtual events on LinkedIn. So I'm going to put your links there. And also you have a great podcast called, as we mentioned earlier, Rise from the Ashes. And it's on Buzzsprout and YouTube. And we're going to have all the links here. And I want people to say, how can they work with you? How can they find out more? How can they change? Because what's happening here is you're saying, okay, it's not enough to just stop drinking. It's not enough to just say, I'm going to turn my life around, but personal responsibility. I learned that in Landmark Forum years ago, is that I'm 100% cause in the matter every single time. It's hard to imagine when we're being abused and things happen. But when we look at that and we're willing to face, what did I do to cause this? And then how can I be gentle, which you said very well. I love that. Being gentle and kind with ourselves and compassionate and allow ourselves to feel that level of forgiveness of ourselves for the things that we've done to others, to ourselves. Because I grew up in also those voices, those tapes that go, geez, what are you doing? Stop all that already. You're talking too much. Jill, you're talking too much. Whatever it is, right? And so it's like, no, it's being kind and gentle. And so it's really being aware of those tapes and saying, oh, wow, cancel, Michael Beckwith, cancel. And then what is the message I want to hear to myself is, wow, Jill, that's really great. Met an insight there. Really well done. Really nice. Okay. And you do that for you too, right, Baz? You have that nice self-talk, I'm sure. But it creeps in, doesn't it? That negative talk. What are you doing, you asshole? What were you thinking?
It's a habit. It's a habit that you've got to be aware of. And then once you're aware of something, you can start changing the direction of it. Not aware of it, how can you change it? It's like it's like saying, oh, there's a stop sign there. Well, I didn't see it. Smash. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
It was still there. You may not see it, but you need to be aware of it so you can be teaching appropriately.
Yeah.
But all these things were forming where I was going. And what formed afterwards was, by accident really, was a business. Isn't a business for me, it's a joy. It's helping people, doing what I love doing, but using not just business skills I've learned from some of the best people in the world, Keith Cunningham, Tony Robbins, I can go on forever, because I didn't know any of this. I wasn't a business person. I didn't even know what entrepreneur, even how to spell entrepreneur. I heard this, or what a coach was, a life and business strategy mentor, and this. So I had to figure out very quickly, in a space saturated with wannabe coaches, and that's no disrespect to coaches, but there's a lot of us out there who say, I'm a coach. I'm not coaches, they're just acting. And that's my truth. However, what distinguished me from all of that was I'd walked the walk. I'd done it. But I had to realize the power in it, and also building a 7-figure business in less than 4 years. It wasn't just I'd done it. I'd proven not just to myself, because I silenced somewhat the voices, and they're still there today. They never go. You're never perfect. You're still working on yourself. But you have to look deep within yourself to go, I'm worth this. My message is worth hearing. I am able to then deliver it. Then you start shaping a form of a path. And the path won't ever be clear. It's not going to be, I'm going to get from here to A to B in this time, because time doesn't exist. And it's not going to be straight. But there are going to be challenges on it to level yourself up. By starting to form an inspirational way of doing business.
Is this the RAMS coaching system that you talk about? This framework, I looked it up on your site. I was like, oh man, this is so incredible. Because I want to, in case we lose people and they go, oh, this is too long. You work with people, right? You can work with people and help them from this point of where you were to like, no, I really want to get my life together. And I really want to, Baz is someone that, hasn't, been like years and years as a CEO and an entrepreneur and all this. But like you said, he gets you because he's been in these places that many of them haven't. And now he's built a 7-figure business in less than 4 years. And that's pretty impressive. And I think you would totally be able to see the nuances of what gets us stuck versus just the practical, okay, here's what you have to do. Here's the spreadsheet. Here's the numbers. Here's how you build a business. There's all this internal shit that's going on that's telling us why we're not going to make it and why it'll never work. That's the part that messes most people up and why they don't succeed. It has nothing to do with getting the practical technical aspects of it. It's psychology. What doesn't that Tony say that? It's 80% psychology, business.
But I
so
think
going to continue on your, I want to get back to the RAMS thing, but I wanted to point that out, that get really clear. People can reach out to you and they can actually, you can help them with turning their lives around. If they want to try something new, you've got a lot of different content out there that you can do that with people. So
again, just go to the website or reach out to me on LinkedIn is the best way.
Fantastic.
Somebody will get back to you. if you're serious about working, and I must stress this, you've got to be serious about change. Don't come to me with half-assed, I want to change and invest in myself because I'm not that person. Just not. I will not tolerate time wasters. I'll just send you on your way. Go to see some life coach down the corner that's going to charge you $5.99 for a month. That's not
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I do works, and
Yeah.
it does change lives. Period.
Well, that's
Invest my time with someone who wasn't ever willing to invest in themselves.
yes.
It's that simple.
That's beautiful. And I love that you'll help them through that process as well, even because you're going to understand the nuances of people, for those of us who've been through some of these things that make us feel like we're where we're going to get stuck. We've had so much trauma, so much history, so many bad things that have happened that it's more than just the mechanics. So
Yeah.
before we wrap up, I do want to give us a little bit of tips on some value add of how your Rams coaching system works and what does it do for you people.
So, amazing. I'm gonna do so. So Rams, I took the best parts around what the gurus were teaching, and I wrapped it up and I looked at all the gaps in everything because there's always gaps. And I came up with a system I called Rams, which is results, attitude, mastery, and systems. It is a formula that you can adapt to do everything, but having the result in mind first. And there's different variations of a result there's different attitudes you can with that, depending on your personality. It goes deep in your psychology, reframing, rewiring, belief systems, how to actually build that plan to get where you want to get to. Then it went into mastery, which is the repetitive action of doing something so it becomes subconsciously printed. And there are ways to do it. The final one was systems. And this was a tricky one because systems isn't just about automating your business or automating a habit. It's about relationships. It's about how to engage with people on that core level and then expanding on that. So if I'm engaging at one-on-one, is that worth the time that I'm spending? If I'm engaging on one-to-many groups or audiences, is that worth my time? And it focuses on the value of it. Time is a value. But also, I see people do things, they take information, and most people, 97% of the people listening to this, will do nothing with it. That is a fact. 90% of your people now listening will do absolutely nothing. And that's fine. 3% of you will. Percent of you will take this information, take notes like a banshee, and then tomorrow morning they're going to go, what do I need to change? How do I change it? And if I can't change it myself, how can I reach to somebody that knows how to do it? The system works. I am the result of that system. I won't tell someone to go and jump in a cold shower or do a cold plunge or walk over hot coals if I haven't done it. I traveled 97 countries in the world. So there's not a lot I haven't done. But I will tell you this, you won't do it alone. You'll do it safely, congruently, somewhat at your own pace, but you'll do it for your highest interests. Them 3% will change the world. The others, you're catching up to do. And they're real statistics. 97% won't even finish a course. 12% go to the next. But 97% will not finish. Where do you sit on the board?
I love this. I love this. I love
Maybe
this.
not to.
Said that 3 times. I listened that 3 times. Fun. Okay, the 3% who will change the world. Is it going to be you? Those of you watching, seriously, rewind this. Get some notes out. If you didn't start making notes before, go back and watch it again, and get on Baz's website and check out the RAM system. And okay, so the RAM system is like a quadrant: results, attitude, mastery, and systems. Okay, so to get someone to go to your site, give them one thing. If there are people going like, I want to be the 3%, because that's always me. I'm like, I want to be the 3%. Give me one thing I need to do before tomorrow morning that's going to make me want to say, okay, I'm gonna find out what do I need to do to get there. What's the one thing they can do today, right now?
First of all, listen to the podcast.
Okay.
Secondly, if you want to move that needle immediately, not tomorrow morning, immediately, make a decision for yourself. Make a decision to change.
Decision to change.
Make that first step, internalizing decision. Not just a conscious choice, an identity choice. Change your identity. I am willing to change. Then the pathway will start to open to possibilities of which direction to go in. Remember, you are that gift. You're not looking for a gift. It's not external. You already are the gift. Please recognize it within yourself.
I love this. Make a decision to change, and I am willing to change. Is it because I'm such a particular, like, get this, make sure I get it exactly right?
Mm-hmm.
Just be willing to change, and then be surprised what it is, or I'm willing to change a particular thing in my life. Or is it
change first? Second step, find out or make a decision what it is.
Okay. So be open to. I'm willing to change.
Yeah.
I'm someone who is willing to change. That's my identity comment. State.
And then you say, well, what needs to be changed?
And we always know what it is, don't we? We kind of know deep down, and there's that thing that we're like, I probably need to give up smoking. I probably need to give up drinking. I probably need to give up gossiping or hanging out with that person, whatever it is, right? And we know what it is, and it's like, it could be a change, and it could be a starting something. Oh, I know I should start doing meditation every day, or I should start walking a couple times a week, something like that.
What is
this? Is that what it is, or is it something more deep than that?
It's a lot deeper than that.
Okay.
The things you've just gone through are very common, but they're superficial.
Okay, good. Tell me more.
So there's layers. Dean Graziosi speaks about this, about asking 7 questions to yourself.
Well, 7 layers deep. Yeah, the 7 layers deep exercise.
So ask yourself the superficial ones first. That's great. But as you come layer upon layer, the answers will get more complex. And then the last one will be so simple. It's just like, oh, it's that stop sign. There it is. It's because it's the thing what's really going on that you don't really want to face. And it's that's the identity shift. That's the belief shift of I'm able to, I can, I'm doing it. And it's I'm doing it will give you the momentum.
Okay.
It's being willing to face it, not externally, but internally first. Everything that is external starts within us first. So the result of what you're going towards be found very deep within inside you.
Okay. So I know the 7 levels deep exercise. For those who don't know what it is, it's basically asking a question, and you've got to go through the 7 steps. You don't stop at 4.
Yeah.
At least that's what how Dean Graziosi teaches it. But it's like the first one is like, I need to change. And that would be the basis. And then it's, well, why do I need to change? Or what do I need to change?
What?
And then it's, well, what do I want to change? I want to stop drinking. Well, why do I want to stop drinking? Well, because it's bad for me. Well, why is it bad for me? And then, and you keep going and you keep asking until you get to that 7th. And the 7th is really like there's the real answer. Because my family, my whole life is messed up, all this. It's something really deep.
The people who have really complex things, they can do this. It's not just 7.
It's not. Okay.
You can do this until you get the true answer. And only you will know what that answer is and when it comes. If you stop early, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're stopping short of what your potential is.
Okay.
We spoke about this earlier. We are afraid of our potentialities because they're infinite. We always sell ourselves short.
I can imagine as we get closer, that next question, when it starts to get uncomfortable, we'll start to notice ourselves get a little fidgety.
You'll go out for a cigarette.
Yeah. Or you'll be like,
Listen,
oh, I need to make a phone call, or I got to go to the bathroom. I'm hungry. I got to get something to eat. And that's usually when you're close. You're not done. That's when you're close. It's going to be uncomfortable when you get to those last ones, right?
yes, everything is a distraction. Put away. Phones, people, environment, seal yourself off in a dark room. I did this. It's very uncomfortable. I would not let myself leave disciplined as much as I could have been. I would not leave until I found an answer. I will tell you now, I was petrified of what was coming up. And it scared the shit out of me. So if it's not scaring you, you're doing it wrong. If your idea is not scaring you, your vision is not scaring you, you need a bigger vision.
Snap. Snap. Man, I need to coach with you. I need to coach with you. I'm loving this. This is so good. I'm like, stop talking about me. You're so brilliant.
It's having the awareness of going that layer deeper that no one they're not willing to go to. They're not willing to face who they are. But it's the potential. You're not facing the potential of you. You're not speaking to you 10 years from now. Matthew McConaughey, he says, and he does this on live speak. My best version of me is 10 years. Tomorrow I'm still 10 years ahead. I won't stop chasing that person until I get to that person. You're never going to be 10 years ahead because you're not there yet. So you're always chasing something better and bigger, but also internalizing it and doing the best you can within service to others. Never self-serve.
Never.
I know people who are uber successful. They've got 10 figures, they're happily, they've got properties around the world, but they're the unhappiest people in the world because they are lost internally. And they've addicted to gambling and other things. I can't say who these people are, but they are so unhappy. And one of them, she came to me and said, Baz, if I don't do something today, I will pay any amount of money for this. Tomorrow, I'm going to throw myself off my building in New York. Hell. I said, well, what do you want? She said, I don't fucking know it. His words, I do not fucking know. I'm going to leave everything to my daughters. I'm going to jump off the building. Let's do something today. I said, okay. So I sat down with him for 7 hours. That person now, I can't say who this is now in the most happiest space he'd ever been entirely. He's uber successful, but he lost purpose and he lost his self-value. And because and it wasn't the money, it wasn't, anything he could ever give me. I said, what do you really want? What do you truly want? I don't know. So I started to ask questions. And I went deep. I didn't go into his past because I can't change that. But what I got to was quite simply, he didn't know what to do to leave something memorable to someone else. It wasn't about wealth. It was about the memory of himself to others and the way he showed up in his life. This guy is over 10 figures. He could buy anything that money could buy. But he was at that much pain within himself. He couldn't find the strength to even go, I want to be here. And he found me on LinkedIn.
Wow.
He said, I think it was a leadership seminar I was doing.
Yeah.
I went, my first opening line for that was, does your leadership suck? Is your leadership shit? And he went, I like you. Because it was me that was telling, wasn't sugarcoating anything. It was just straight to the point. And in social media, it's a fairy tale world. How many influencers did you see prancing around on the streets, stopping traffic, or causing a scene, or baseball bats through TVs in Walmart just to get us a like. I don't care about likes. I care about my message and how it resonates. I don't care about how many people see it, but the right ones will see it.
Absolutely.
That's what I care about.
That's so beautiful, Baz. Thank you for that. I hope that everyone watching will share this message, share this video, this interview. Find Baz on LinkedIn and YouTube. He's going to be doing more interviews too, and things on YouTube. I know he's getting in very high demand worldwide. It's really we've scheduled this 3 times trying to get this out there, and we finally got it hooked up. So thank you for this and your time today. I know you're so really busy, and so take advantage of this opportunity to really sit with yourself and ask if you're one of those 3% that are willing to make a change and declare it and make that your identity. And take that first step is, what do I need to change? Or what I need to change? And even when it gets hard, and then by tomorrow morning, take those next steps and reach out, find Baz, watch some of his webinars, do what you can to get connected so you can be one of those 3% change agents for the world. We really need that right now. We need that in our world more than we ever have. And you're one of those people, Baz. I'm so grateful to know you and to call you friend and be connected with you. And I learned so much from you every time we speak.
It's a privilege, Jill, always.
Anything else you'd like to add or share before we finish?
Just know that you have the power to change. You don't look at yourself any less than whatever you call God, because you're an aspect of that. Don't stop trying, because the world actually needs your message. You may not realize it right now. The world needs you, and they need your message.
Yes.
Don't do the world a disservice. Don't stop.
Thanks, Baz. Baz Porter,
you.
everyone. I appreciate you, man. You're amazing.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for watching today. Again, please comment. Let us know what you need. We're here for you. Baz will respond to comments here. We're going to put this also and tag it for his YouTube channel, so you can circle there as well. And let me know what else you'd like to see here. What is working? What are you enjoying? And what do you need more of from me? I love connecting. So, that's my thing. So definitely stay connected, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.